Tuesday, January 17, 2023. Three minutes. It's beautiful outside. I'm not exactly sure the temperature, maybe 58. It's not really supposed to get super warm, but it's just ever so chill. Look at that. Not really so much as even a Christmas, but it's beautiful nonetheless. This is going to be like my first time really just out of Pasadena, period. I am headed for my follow-up doctor's appointment about this, whatever it is. So we'll see. I mean, I'm trying to get a status as whether or not I can, go back to doing manual labor, or do I have to just, accept it and, file disability because, the little that I managed to stretch from, my last paycheck. I'm just really glad I know how to budget myself, because now the phone service is gone. I was expecting that. I was hoping that maybe though I could hopefully buy at least 2 more weeks and trying to find out what's going on or what could I do. But I knew it was coming, just as the home internet is probably slated here within a couple days. So that's just really miserable. That's funny, right in the middle of the rainstorm that we were having, my housemate had told me that someone had already come by and was there to do the hole after 2 years to fix the leak in my room. Subsequently, it was about maybe Saturday when the rain was coming down. I heard some banging, and it was like, what? And then I heard some yelling from outside. It must have been, I don't know, maybe 6 p.m. And the rain was starting to come down, And I hear Carla, and the gentleman, I guess he came in. I didn't know. Could you hear me? I go, no, I had my headphones on. Oh, well. Now, granted, he was rather rude and pissy and everything else. And I understand. I mean, he's doing this in the middle of the rain, It's like anyone, electrician coming out during bad weather, plumber, etc., etc. Weather conditions make, but I just let it go. And I didn't interact with him. He climbed up on the roof and did it. And I showed him in my room where exactly. I go, it's possibly from within inside, because you have to do the repair. I go, honestly, as much torture and as much of the material has come off the shingles, it needs replacing. So, okay. So what he did basically, and I wasn't in the mood to, but I think today I'm going to try to get an aerial perspective. But from what I saw yesterday that I went out, he just basically put a tarp up over there for the temporary. But I think it's helping, though the rain wasn't as bad as it was the other day. But we'll see. He had the ladder up over there. I'll show some footage. And then there was pounding, and he was throwing something up. I kind of thought he was throwing rolls of paper up. And when I looked the other day, no, he was throwing some of the big, huge boulders from the yard, that borders the little vegetation thing up on the roof. And I'm going, yeah, you're lobbing 20-pound stones up on the roof, possibly causing more damage. I don't think that's wise. So, but it's just a bloody comedy show. I mean, All right, so next is LA and the doctor's office, so we'll see from there. It's actually even nicer over here. This is a little Armenia area. We are a little early. Let's see if I can't get down to Vaughn's so I could get some grapes. It's really nice that after we have a storm or a good hard rainfall, and the sky is like really clear and blue and what? Jesus Christ. Anyway, when the sky is blue and it's all nice. Especially around here, and then when we're at the doctor's office, there is a theater down over here. It's an old theater that used to be a thing of yesteryear. God, I can't remember the director slash actor who bought it and is in the process of renovating it. We'll go take a look. Such a cool old area. Seems like not too long ago it was so it really was different. I used to come here a lot when I moved from Tahoe to North Hollywood. This whole area was actually quite nice and quite lovely in the lively in the evening. I have a thing for barber poles because it was it's an old time era that I'm just so used to it. Look, Sweeney Todd's. Oh, the days of being impetuous, squirmy little kid in the barber's chair, trimming with the scissors at first, and then they bring out the clippers and you're squirming and they're holding you down like they're trying to put on a straitjacket. It's kind of an interesting. What is this? I don't know, but I like the name. It's very befitting of today's society. It is. It's just really progressively getting so much worse, man. Going to Memorial Park was, it wasn't too bad. Actually, I was just still trying to enjoy the marathon and everything. It wasn't until, sitting down and just editing the video that it just brought up a lot of things. Seeing myself, I could literally see myself very uncomfortable with the clothes that I had on my back my first night sleeping on those rocks behind that tree. And then I was pointing out, when the rains came, we would kind of try to get under the band shell. At that time, there was only basically maybe a handful. The situation back then in town was just it wasn't as dense or populated as it is now. I mean, pretty much everywhere you go now, it's just really just like saying it's the norm. But for the most part, it really is, and especially going down to look, there's these fine places, and of all the audacity, during the campaign between the two, Caruso and Karen Bass, both making promises, and as I say, it's always a play on words. She wanted to eradicate homelessness, and you can't, we will never, I don't care where, I mean, we've been dealing with third world countries, we will never get rid of homelessness. We can only get it back down to a manageable level. God, that is such an awful thing to say about a situation where human beings are struggling. Caruso was saying that we can fix this. He wasn't saying eradicate. Now, when a politician or someone says eradicate, they mean eradicate. To them, that is unsightly, and they don't want their society visually burdened. Kind of like starting off in the late 70s, where they were starting to restrict huge signs like on grocery stores and places like that. They were up like 60 feet up in the air. And then because they didn't like the way it looked aesthetically, visually, more and more of those kind of signs started coming down to a lesser level. I think you couldn't exceed 20, 25, 30 feet, something like that. So that's why they're now short. Now, do you remember the old McDonald's and Jack in the Boxes and fast food restaurants? Especially Jack had the huge thing, and Jack's head is up there. Yeah, that's it's visually unpleasing. So same thing with this. Now, she hasn't done anything. Well, you know, Karen Bass is going to put she's did a declaration. Anybody could put a declaration. It's an announcement. Anybody can do that. But to be able to actually do something physically right after you put the declaration and sign it is another matter. You're not doing it. So nothing's being done. All this money that came in for her campaigning and for all this housing and stuff for the homeless, she still has it. Where the investments are, nothing. At least Caruso's plan was, he was a real estate developer. He had a plan. He already had a plan. All she's doing now is working on focus groups and how to create a strategy to start doing things. We've had enough of this. We had this with Governor Newsom, who had a 10-year plan, quote unquote. This is during his campaigning years ago. Well, that 10 years has expired. Now what? She's parroting the same freaking thing in her own words. Look, California's got to buckle down. You got to stop really just thinking about it. Now, both sides right now are going through a lot of turmoil. The only trump card that Trump has is that Biden has done what he's done. Now, I don't like this administration one single bit, nor Biden. He's just categorically and historically proven himself to be a fucking racist. He is a huge racist. He is just a bigot beyond, and he's a sycophile. I mean, come on. Look. And at the same time, as where I don't like him, I don't really like all this other shit that's going on. All of a sudden, all these papers, these documents are being found here and there. Even as absent-minded as he seems, you can't tell me that he's that silly and that he's that lost. I mean, for when I was growing up as a kid, our joke, our buffoon of a little president at that time was Gerald Ford, and he was kind of known and notorious for always bumping his head when he was getting in and out of the plane, out of Air Force One. He'd always, oh. So with him stumbling and stuff like that, I kind of focused on that memory and stuff like that. But he's proven to be not really fit. I don't think it's the age so much as that the age has really hit him. Plus, he's categorically proven to be a liar and a plagiarist time and time again. This is just going nowhere. I kind of think, and I kind of put this out yesterday on my feed. There's like two scenarios. They'll crash the market and they'll get him out and say that he's unfit and all this was because of his doing and stuff like that. And he was advised or probably ill-advised on things and he just didn't follow procedure and he just kind of went rogue. or they'll crash the market whilst he's in office and then put the blame on him. But I mean, don't you think it's a little funny that all these papers, plus not to mention during him being in administration as vice president, these double standards now in our country with the politicians, both left and right, really now have left me to want to almost become just an independent, honestly, because at least that way I can really scrutinize more than ever before. Definitely I was on the right side always, but even now, you know, if they take out Biden, Kamala's not going to take over because the country won't want to be under her leadership. So, and the administration, the left, they know this. They know the old torches and pitchforks will be coming out and taken to the streets. So then there leaves, of course, McCarthy. Wow, walking on the edge of a blade. I wouldn't want that. You see how now you see this is where the conspiracy theory starts to kick in. This is all by design. This is all by design. I mean, it's. Don't you think it's kind of weird? I don't know. Just lay back and see how the cards are being played out. Who's gonna ante up and who's gonna put down the next card and show and tell and shit. You know, this is unlike any poker game that I've never seen played out before. You know, and I love poker. I mean, I'm not a fantastic poker. I like to play poker, you know, as friendly and stuff, shit like that, and on the slots and Vegas, but this is altogether a different kind of poker. And I don't like the stakes because the stakes are you and I, and they don't give a shit about anteing up and whatever's in the pot. It's us. All right, enough rambling. This is a little confusing. This is Hollywood, Sunset, Virgil, and Hillhurst, all kind of triangulating here. The theater that I was talking about is just over yonder. But yeah, this is kind of reminds me of maybe like one of those bigger city intersections, like maybe New York, where everything is kind of a little bit of an X and Y meet together in the center point. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of cool. Okay, we just crossed Hillhurst. See, this is what I mean. It's kind of weird. Hillhurst, Hollywood, Virgil, Sunset, Sunset Drive, and here is the theater, the Vista. I put a link down. This old-timey theater is just really cool. There's actually a really fantastic old... Look at this. Okay. Look at that ticket box. Wow. That is so cool. I can, you know, I don't know if I ever came here as a kid. Probably. Oh, I like that. This is to be continued. But like most of the old theaters that we have here in Los Angeles and Hollywood and everything, the decor, I'm sure, is absolutely spectacular, as is a lot of the homes. We have so many bungalow style homes. Those are really, really awesome. I love the old time bungalows type of architecture. Now over down in this area, I believe, is one of the older studios. Now I know this area over here quite well. It's kind of funny because of the way we are over here. Hollywood is over here, and if you can see the skyline just right over there, that turret tower is the bank. That's Los Angeles. It's kind of weird. So yeah, if you take this all the way down, you're in LA. But anyway, the studio over here, we used to film the, what do you call it? Oh shoot. Oh, it's the California Lottery. When the California Lottery had its first show for taping, for the drawing of the weekly numbers, they used to do it right over in this area. I know this because I used to always get free tickets, and I never attended until one day I had told a buddy of mine at work, I go, hey, you and your wife want to go to the show with me? You know, I got tickets for the taping of the California Lottery. And it's like, yeah, sure. I go, I told that for being an audience participant, they give us some scratchers. They're like, oh, cool. And they did. You know, every participating audience member would get free 20 free tickets. So that was cool. So we went, and I think it was like on a Saturday or Thursday. So we went to the taping, and we were there. It was about an hour for a half-hour show taping, and they didn't have enough people for the audience for the next taping, because I think they would tape like maybe a show in advance. Plus they did a midweek show or something. I can't remember now. It's going back so long ago. So we said, yeah, sure. We'll give you an extra 25 tickets if you stay. Sure. We looked at each other. That's like 75 scratchers between the three of us, right? My buddy, his wife, and me. So we're getting there. The warm-up show comes on, the comedian, blah, blah, getting the, excuse me, the audience all razzed up and everything. The lights start to dim, and that was the last thing. Next thing I remember, waking up, I'm at Kaiser Permanente, just down the street over here. What happened? How you feeling, Miss Sir? I don't know. Where am I? What happened? That was when I had my first seizure. So, and then that's when I was diagnosed with having a seizure disorder. And then the doctor, the neurologist, and the doctor on call at the time explained to me more or less, well, do you have any history, blah, blah, blah. No, well, you know, sometimes the way we are wired when we're born, and this is what I've carried throughout my whole time as explanation and stuff like that, the way it was explained to me, that sometimes when we're born, all our wires, our neurons or whatever don't connect properly the way they do, or misconnect. So it's not usually unheard of that when a young person reaches the ages of about between 24 and 29 to 31 at the latest, that look at that they usually will experience their first seizure. And one of my neurologists pretty much explained the same thing in the same scenario and stuff like that. So that's what excuse me, I've gone on, you know, is it just, that's pretty much is those particular things just didn't connect. And so then that's, you know, I now have that seizure disorder. Time and time again, you know, I've done the, what do you call that? The other snuffleupagus word, the one where they connect the wires to your brain. I had that done last year in Boyle Heights. I kind of react to strobing lights, but not as much. And my ex-wife knows that sometimes when we cross a freeway overpass, or sometimes in a chain link fence, given the time or the way the sun is, and at the speed or pace and how things are, if those shadows are there and on the ground, they start to kind of create or to trigger an aura in me. So then I start to look forward and try not to look at it, especially out of the corner of my eyes. It makes me feel weird. Or as my communicator, my ex used to say, honey, I feel a little funky. And that was our code word when I feel like, you know, seizure onset.